Hey guys, so this is part three. It's more of like a response video to my EF China horror story. So I put my story up on Reddit and I'm going to link it in the description. And it got around 80,000 views and 53 likes, 130 comments. So what I'm reading here definitely assures me and reaffirms that what happened to me wasn't an isolated incident. From what I'm reading, it happened to many people over the course of a decade. It happened to many other black teachers. I think for me, it was a bit more tragic because I didn't even have a chance. Whereas, like the other stories that I'm reading, it seems that like they beat the probation and they were at least teachers for a few months to a few years. Some people actually got the chance to get out and go to another school, to which I barely had that chance. Because EF, remember, everything they had, my reimbursement, my TEFL was contingent upon passing probation. So I couldn't just go to another English school if I didn't have my TEFL certificate, which was a mistake to let EF sponsor that when if I did it on my own, then I would have more agency over my own documents. So that's another thing. Like if you're like, wow, I'm gonna save $500 by allowing EF to pay for my TEFL, that's a big no-no. Get it yourself, put in your own money for it, so at least you can jump ship at any time. Because like I said, my plan, and I'm gonna answer a few questions that some people had for me on the Reddit, and there are some trolls, so I'm just gonna ignore them. But there's one troll I'd like to answer. I think they came from Foshan too, because someone made a comment that was a comment that only someone from Foshan 2 would know, and I did not even mention it in my 2 hour videos. So, one thing a lot of people said is, well, if you had teaching experience as an artist or an animator, why didn't you teach English? Why didn't you teach animation or art abroad? That was the goal. My goal was to actually work for EF for a few months, 6 months actually, that was the number. The magic number was 6 months, and then transfer to Basis International in Hong Kong. If anyone who knows me knows that one of the main reasons I wanted to go to China was to go to Hong Kong. Even though mainland China and Hong Kong are completely different, that was my dream, that was my goal. And I couldn't even go because if I left the mainland, I would not be able to re enter the mainland. I had to wait for my residence permit to finalize, and it never got finalized. It was going to be finalized 4 days from which the day I got terminated. So I never could go to Hong Kong. I can go back, but it's not really, I don't really have a passion to return to Asia at all, unfortunately, after this experience. But yes, my goal was, and this is the thing, teaching English will get your foot in the door in many, many countries. I'm talking Thailand, Japan, Taiwan. If you teach English, you can always switch jobs later. It's much harder to look for an artistic teaching job or a dance teaching job or a music job from the outside. Usually when you're inside or you're already in the country, you're already a more favorable candidate because you're already in China or you're already in Thailand or whatever. Not only that, there will be people who are more willing to help you, more you can meet these people in person, you can interview in person as opposed to interviewing online. They might not take you serious. It's like online dating, like most girls won't take you serious until they actually physically meet you. So my logic was what a lot of people's logic are. You teach English and then you jump ship. And to be honest, after meeting Emma, I already knew that we were gonna come to a head, that it was either I was gonna quit or she was gonna terminate me. Because it's easy to love people that love you. It's easy to like people that like you. And in the same regard, it's easy to hate people that hate you. And Emma, for some reason, she hated me. And I did not know why. She disliked me. She never had anything good to say about me. And I think her hate was much deeper than that. It was racism. It was discrimination. It was favoritism. Because she also failed the probation of another black woman that I worked with. Her name was Tonell. She failed her too. And she got a second chance to try, and it wasn't Emma that passed her. It was another black teacher that passed her. So one of the troll comments was, we have a senior teacher. He's black. His name is Deshaun. From me talking to him, Deshaun has been there for 5 years. He's been working for EF for 5 years. Someone has sent me a comment, and I don't want to reveal the name. Someone sent me a private comment that they worked at Foshan too 6 years ago. And they remember Emma when she was a teacher. So you do the math. Emma was a teacher, a regular teacher like me, 6 years ago. Deshaun has been there for 5 years, and he worked his way up to senior teacher. Emma and Deshaun are both working their way up to become senior teachers, line managers, DOSs, director of studies. Emma couldn't fire Deshaun. Emma could hate all the black people in the world, but she did not have any power to get rid of them. So Deshaun was grandfathered in. Any other black person who came across Emma would fail probation or be hated upon. She was finally in a position where she could actually prevent us from succeeding at her particular center. She disliked me from the very beginning. I never knew why, but it's surprising that my post that I made on WeChat about this situation, the post that I made on YouTube, has riled up a lot of feathers over there. It seemed that a lot of people watched my videos from different centers. I won't name the centers, but a lot of people were sympathizing with my story because they found it extremely cruel and unusual form of termination. And who wouldn't make a story after that? If I got terminated for punching a kid or insulting a parent, I would be like, okay. But folding my arms, I fold my arms at church. I fold my arms a lot of times when I'm not using them. It's either they're moving or they're folded, you know? Especially when I'm not talking to someone, folding my arms when I'm in the back of the room. That's why you're going to terminate someone. And also following my schedule. Like, we all have schedules. There's a time to wake up. There's a time to go to sleep. There's a time to go to work. There's a time to go to lunch. It's ridiculous to penalize someone for following their schedule. But yeah, it seems that my post has riled up a lot of people. And what could she have expected? You can't just get rid of people. And the thing is, maybe, and the scary part is, she probably didn't even tell people the real reason why I left. She probably mentioned it in passing in a team meeting or something. Like, oh, Sam is no longer with us. He decided to go back home. Why don't you tell them the real reason why? Which is why so much people were messaging me, because I'm pretty sure the center director and Emma told them something completely different. Something that really didn't happen. Like, why don't you tell them the real reason why you terminated me? So I think this story, this Reddit post, these YouTube videos, and this third YouTube video is going to shed a lot more light on Emma Zhao. Foshan 2, by the way, if you want to call over there in English or Chinese. Foshan, FS2, the second center of EF. There's 18 locations, so imagine there's 18 locations and you get the one with Emma, and she just hates black people, and she's belittling you. She's saying, you're not improving at the rate of other new teachers, even though all the new teachers come at different times and different months of the year. What does that even mean? What sense does that make? If you're a new employee and you're on probation and you've been there for 3 weeks and all of a sudden you're supposed to be at the standard of a senior teacher? What standard do you have to be at when you just started and you're still learning? I was still doing trainings that very first day. That very day, that was my first parent-teacher conference I've observed. You know what I mean? That would be like you getting terminated on your very first classroom observation because something in a classroom happened that you didn't know about. It's so insane. Like, I'm supposed to make mistakes during probation, or I'm supposed to learn things. And a lot of times in Foshan 2, I was learning things that specific day or within that specific meeting. If anything, it attests to Emma's personality and her character, that she's an impatient woman, that she's recently become a line manager, and she is very inexperienced dealing with people, that she's a hateful, spiteful person who shouldn't be dealing with children. And I found it very strange when this person messaged me on Reddit because I can't even imagine Emma teaching kids. I can't imagine her singing songs with them. I can't imagine her giving them high fives. I just can't imagine it at all in my head. Her interacting with children in any regard. Because she seems such like a cruel, vile. If you ever think of like a super evil Chinese woman with no heart, that is Emma Zhao. She's scary. She's intimidating. She doesn't smile. She looks like the devil herself. Like, now that she has no power over me, like, if I ever met Emma in real life, I'll give her the talk to the hand and get the fuck out of here. But with someone like that having power over you, I felt defeated. I felt like I was in a situation where it was no longer about my teaching ability. No one mentioned, like, hey, Sam stopped that kid from crying, or all the times I stopped a troublesome kid. You see these Pokemon cards back here? I would give away so much Pokemon cards at EF just to get the kids to pay attention, just to get the kids to open up their workbook. There was one particular kid, he put his workbook away. He wasn't listening to the TA. He wasn't listening to the teacher, the senior teacher. Everyone gave up on him. And I was in the back observing. And I stood up. I was like, I can't observe anymore. I stood up and I was like, hey, what's wrong? He had some bubble gum in his hair and it was really bothering him. So I got a cup of water, a napkin, and I helped him clear out the bubble gum in his hair. With one hand, had him open up his workbook. With the other hand, he was cleaning out his hair. I had a stack of Pokemon cards, and I was like, hey, I'll give you this Pokemon card if you open up your workbook. I'll give you a second Pokemon card if you do the activity. I took this student who put everything away. He was sliding out of his chair. He didn't care. And I helped him reintegrate back into the classroom with just an incentive, a few Pokemon cards that he liked, and listening to his needs. He had bubblegum in his hair. He was distracted. It was hardening. He didn't want to cut his hair. EF didn't see things like that because EF cares about money and results. You pissed off a parent and that's one of our customers, blah, blah, blah. What about the social emotional aspect of a kid? Maybe today he didn't learn English, but he learned how to work in a group. Maybe he learned how to manage his anger skills. We had one girl, she's like mute, she doesn't talk. Maybe today was the day she finally spoke. She finally interacted in a lesson. EF doesn't care about that. They don't see these human goals. They only see results. Is my kid learning English? Bro, your kid could be in 5 years of EF classes and they're not going to be fluent in English. Let's be realistic. It's going to take a very, very long time for them to be really, really good at English. Period. Hell, I took French for like 7 years. I'm not fluent in French. Not even close. So it just takes time and dedication and practice. And a lot of times, it's funny, they tell us that the parents are unrealistic. Sometimes the parents set very unrealistic results at EF. And you're going to listen to a parent that was complaining about a teacher folding his arms. And the only reason Emma took that seriously is because she didn't like me. I'm not sure about the center director, but that day, she didn't look me in the eye. She didn't look me in the eye and she just got up and left. She left halfway through our meeting. So it seemed like the center director wasn't really on board, and maybe Emma kind of convinced her, because there's a lot of hearsay. There was a lot of rumors spreading around. It's very strange. Like, here is my hair pick. I would have my hair pick in my head like this sometimes, and some of the girls would laugh and be like, "Oh, you look like a Teletubby. You look like a Teletubby. Ha 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 ha." I sat to the left. Deshaun was to my left. I mean, I had no issues with him. He was the only other black dude in there, so of course we had a little connection. We're always being compared. They'll call me Day Day's brother. I'm like, whatever. I'm Day Day's brother. We'll just make it a joke. To the right, a woman named Pessa sat next to me. And Pessa was really cool. She was always concerned if there was something wrong with me. She would always share food with me. We would help each other finish our training. I had no issues with Pessa. I liked Pessa. And if things continued, we probably could have been really, really good friends. But towards the end, like I said, I couldn't trust anyone. I couldn't trust Deshaun. I'm like, I can't tell him anything. He's a senior teacher. I'm just some guy that's been here for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And I couldn't trust Pessa either, because she could have been the person who was talking to the other people in Chinese. All the PAs hated me all of a sudden. They went from taking pictures of me to hating me. And it wasn't like deliberate hate, but I can see it in their eyes and their attitude and their body language that they didn't really want to associate with me. So it was very strange. I was like, who am I intimidating really? Like, I sit in the same spot as Deshaun to the left. It's Pessa to the right. And anyone who passes by might make a comment like, oh, you have this hair pick in your head. Like here in Miami, I see like 100 black dudes with this hair pick in their head. It's nothing special, but over there, it's a big deal, you know? I mean, it's a big deal. In Japan, some girls would giggle at you. In Turkey, some girls would giggle at you. But if you're an American, if you're a black American, like the hair pick thing is very common. It was strange because I was making more people laugh and smile, if anything. The worst thing I did was not talk to you. Like, I'll be like, oh, I'm busy right now, I can't. Or I'm eating by myself. That was the only two things I can see that people would find intimidating. Like, how is it intimidating if I chose to eat by myself and I'm watching like a YouTube video and I'm just eating? Or if I'm doing my work, you know what I mean? It's not chat time. I'm here to work. So I felt like it was an insult to my professionalism, and there was a lot of vagueness. Who felt intimidated? Like I said, if anyone felt intimidated, like in this story that I wrote, if anyone felt intimidated by me, they just didn't know me. You just didn't know me. You're like a stranger. You don't know if that stranger is cool until you talk to him. And another thing, let's see, the vagueness. Like, what is the measure of a new teacher if we all started on different weeks? Like, what was the benchmark? Emma's last few words were chilling because it was like, oh, you're improving, but not at the rate that we want you to improve at. So we're letting you go even though your probation is not even halfway. So yeah, if you're a new employee at any new job, there should be a level of patience and consideration with that new employee. So they didn't have the patience. And another thing I want to mention is that what was really true, there was a TA named Kaylee. I kind of liked this girl. And one day she just didn't show up to work, and I messaged her on WeChat. And I'm like, hey, where are you? And she's like, I quit. But the story that they gave us was that, oh, there's a TA shortage, and a lot of them are just going back to college. They're going back to school. And that was the story that they gave me and a lot of other teachers. But obviously that was not the case because Kaylee quit. Apparently they didn't give her a certain certification that she needed, like maybe like my TEFL, something equivalent to like that. They didn't give her that, and that enraged her, and she quit. And she was literally one of the nicest girls there. She was the only TA that actually spoke to me, that noticed me, that would wave to me. Like I said, it's very easy to like people that like you. And it's very easy to dislike people that dislike you. So that's just one of the things. And a lot of people said in the comments here as well, they were like, why didn't you reach out to someone? I did. I reached out to my recruiter, no response. I reached out to Sophie Lynn, no response post-termination. And why would she? Why would she risk her career of 11 years at EF, or a senior teacher 5 years, because that's usually around the time it takes for you to be a senior teacher, 3 to 5 years. Why would they risk their careers standing up for me when I've only been around 3 weeks? I haven't even been in China 2 months in total. So that's the thing. That's what I kind of hate about society, where no one stands up for no one anymore. We watch people get beat up in public. We probably watch someone get R-word in public. People are afraid to act up. People are afraid to intervene. And I've always been the type of person, you can ask my brothers if you know me personally. If I see two people about to fight in the street, oh, you're not going to fight in front of me, man. You're not going to ruin my day by having a fight in front of me. I'll just be like, hey, I was at my little brother's graduation a few years ago, and we just parked. And we're headed towards the graduation, These two guys in the parking lot are about to fight. And I'm watching my brother, my aunt, my uncle. They're all just watching. And I have to be like, okay, I have to be the guy to separate these guys up. Because what are we going to do? Go down the stairs and just, there's like two people killing each other behind us? Like, if you're not going to say something, at least do something. If you're not going to do something, at least say something. I decided to physically put my hands between them and separate them. And I was like, hey, chill. Aren't you here for a graduation? Do you really want to ruin this person's graduation by fighting in the parking lot? I hit them with that logic and they cooled down and they went their separate ways. But that's the type of person that I am. I will stand up for you. And no one stood up for me. No one was like, hey, Emma, what you're doing is fucked up. And I'm reading stories that people are writing here like, hey, the DOS would never let someone do that or never let that happen to a black employee. My DOS at my center, she stood up for the black teachers that were the parents were complaining about them. She didn't cut their ACH hours, and I was like, that's really cool. My DOS, Valerie, she wrote that I spent 5 minutes on a lesson plan when I really spent like 5 hours on it. Really. I was responsible for teaching 1 hour of a class, and we were team teaching. It was the first and last time I team taught with Valerie. And I was responsible for teaching 1 hour, and I kind of finished early, and I got up to like 45, 46 minutes. And Valerie kind of took over because I finished too early. And later on in the notes, she wrote the worst things, like his shirt was too small. He spent 5 minutes on his lesson plan. He was blocking the board and one student couldn't see. He didn't remove points for students speaking Chinese. He didn't notice that there were students speaking Chinese. When he was explaining the directions, 3 students were scribbling and drawing in their notebooks. Like, come on, man. Like, these are not, it's not even constructive criticism. Tell me something that I did good. Tell me something that I can do better. And then tell me the things I've done bad. It was just bad stuff. So obviously Emma would read that and be enraged. But Emma didn't like me before anyone ever wrote a single note about me. It just gave her more fuel. It gave her something. Like she didn't even want to see if I could teach an entire 2-hour high flyer class. Sorry. So yeah, who did I reach out to? Everyone. The internet, YouTube. I emailed the CEO, Adele. And yes, I emailed the safeguarding team. So the safeguarding team and Adele, the CEO of EF, their emails are only available internally. You cannot get their emails online. You cannot Google it, you cannot Bing it, you cannot ChatGPT or DeepSeek it. It's only available to us at EF. There was a slideshow. I remember seeing it during the training. I took a picture of it. But I also made sure that, hey, like, I need to send this story. The very same story you see on Reddit. There's a few changes, but it's almost 99% the same thing. I sent that to Sophie Lin, the CEO, the safeguarding team. Do you think I got a response? Even if they investigated Emma Zhao, they probably did it internally. They probably reached out to her internally. Since I'm no longer an EF employee, why would they include me in the investigation if there was an investigation? Emma can be fired right now and I would not know because they're not associating with me anymore. EF cut me off. No one over there said sorry. No one over there said, hey, I'm sorry this happened to you. Let me reach out and see what I can do. No one is doing that because no one stands up for each other anymore in this world. I'm getting Morgan, unmatched blocked, a friend of mine's, right? Playing pool with him, going out with him, eating, and all of a sudden I'm randomly unmatched. He didn't deliver the ring that I told him to deliver. He stole my ring, whatever. Girls that liked me all of a sudden, oh, I don't want to get in between you and EF. Please keep me out of it. Please don't talk to me. Like, what? You wanted to, like, get my wedding ring and all of a sudden you don't want to talk anymore? You know, strange things like that. People turning their back on you all because you're standing up for yourself. That's exactly what happened to me. It seems so fake. And I don't even want to be in Guangzhou anymore, Foshan anymore. If I had to live in the same city as all of these people who are just randomly removing you from WeChat, why? Why? You didn't even know why I was terminated, right? That's like if you stepped on a piece of bubble gum and came into work and you got terminated. You're gonna ghost someone because they stepped on a piece of bubble gum or something? You know what I mean? Like I said, it was an unconscious thing to fold my arms. I didn't fold my arms in front of the parent, like in his face, like, hey bro, what's up? What's up? You know, I wasn't like that. You know what I mean? So it was the stupidest thing, and it was given by one of the stupidest people, Emma. She doesn't know how to deal with people. She doesn't know how to deal with kids. If anyone, if I had Emma's face and I folded my arms, I would be intimidated. But if it's coming from me, like, just match my face to my body language. Like, obviously, like, I'm not trying to size you up, bro. Like, it's not like we're in the streets and I was in the alley and I was folding my arms waiting for you to come down the street. Like, think of the context, think of the situation. In context, I'm in a corner of the room. My arms are on my desk and I'm just observing. Like, this must have been one of the dumbest parents, and I wish, it's strange now that I was willing to offer him an apology, but I should have really been like, why the fuck are you wasting my time? Are you a kid? Do you need your hand to be held? Why are you wasting my time? If you're unhappy, get out of here. Like, EF is not going to go down because one parent was unsatisfied. That's so stupid in hindsight. And it makes me think that maybe they were overstaffed, or they had budgeting issues, and they really couldn't afford to keep me around, so they just kind of thought, like, who can we get rid of? Which is probably why the center director couldn't look me in the eye. Because I assure you, if every teacher was to show up for work, there would not be enough seats for us, because we did not have enough seats in the office. And we had to alternate the days that the teachers came in. So I was off on Tuesday and Wednesday, and there would be teachers that would work on Tuesday and Wednesday, and they would probably sit in my seat. And it was very rare that every single teacher would be present in a particular day. The center was open Monday through Sunday. It never closed. So someone was always working. And we also had part-time teachers. And part-time teachers, they didn't have their own seats. They didn't even have their own computers. They sat at any empty seat that was available. You would see them playing like musical chairs depending on who's teaching and who's not teaching. And of course, I could mention some names, but I'm not, because I still have some sense of respect. There's still some people over there I do kind of, though I wouldn't say they were my friends or lovers or I care for them, I don't want to see them fired or laid off because of something I said in this video. But Emma was feared by many, especially amongst the black teachers. So to answer that question, well, Deshaun couldn't get fired by Emma because they were at the same level. And Deshaun has been around for 5 years, and I don't think Emma can get him with the folding the arms thing. But if given a chance, if there's some golden opportunity for her to get rid of him, she will probably do it. And that goes for any black teacher or any new teacher. It seems that she wants to keep the circle very small. It seems that corporate sent me and a few teachers. They will send like a few teachers to a few centers, and Emma doesn't have a say. But she can have a say who she gets rid of. She doesn't have a say who can come, but she has a say of who she can get rid of. So I did reach out to the safeguarding team. I reached out to the CEO. If there's a response, I probably won't get it. They'll probably call the center director or call Emma herself and be like, hey, can you explain this situation? I won't be there to defend myself with my story, my evidence. No one there will be able to corroborate my story and be like, hey, we saw what was happening with Sam and let me speak up. Because you lose your job, you got to leave the country or find a new one in 30 days. You don't want to deal with that pressure. You're going to fall under the same boat. People are going to unmatch you, unfollow you. You're going to get removed from every single group chat. Life's going to be very, very difficult. They're going to steal your paycheck. Hopefully you've passed probation, because if you didn't, they're going to take your paycheck. They took my April paycheck. Right now is the month of April. They took it. They're going to reimburse themselves. You're not going to get your TOEFL. EF is one hell of a company. I'm hearing stories about Korea now. Everyone's sharing it, and they're saying EF is terrible, training centers are terrible, or they're saying China is terrible. China is racist. No, go figure. Every Asian person I've ever met, they either don't like China, don't want to be in China. I have Chinese friends here in Miami, they fucking hate China. The only time I ever heard about racism in Asia in the same sentence, the only two countries mentioned were Korea and China. I never heard about racism in Japan. I never heard about racism in the Philippines. It's always been Korea and China. My hell teaching in Korea, my hell teaching in China. These two countries, they might be advanced, they might be first world countries, top 10 economies in the world, but their mindsets are so way back in the past. They think that, and it's so strange because Chinese people think they're the best in the world, but you worship white people. If you worship white people, then that means white people are the best in the world and you're number 2. How can you think of yourself the best and praise another nationality, another ethnicity, whatever? It's the most dumb shit. I'm here. I don't even want to read some of these comments. Some of these comments are so insane. It's just like, wow, I was at GZ6 a decade ago, and the comments just keep going. Either way, I'm going to end on this note. I'll probably go back to what I was doing here in America. Animation teacher, art teacher. I'm going to work with my strengths. I'm going to keep teaching, because you don't quit jobs, you quit people. I'll never stop teaching. I'll never stop sharing my love and my passion for education. And if I become a bartender tomorrow, then my overall teaching experience would have been good. I'm not going to let this 1-2 month teaching experience dictate my 2 years of teaching. And this year I'll also be teaching again. I'll be teaching animation again. So I called my old employer, got my old job back. It's all good. And over there, they're not going to get rid of me if I fold my arms or if I scold a student and be like, hey, like, you need to get on board or something. They know me. They know me personally. They know my professionalism. They gave me a chance. So they're not going to just be like, hey, man, you're out of here. You know? It takes decent people to manage decent people. And like I said, you don't quit jobs, you quit people. I quit Emma. I'm not going to just like, oh, I'm done teaching forever. Hell no. I'm not going to let that set me back. God be my witness. So yeah, hopefully I answered some of the questions of why did I go over there? Well, I was going to switch into art anyway. I was going to switch into art teaching, animation anyway. It was just a stepping stone. That teaching English is the easiest way to enter a country, and then you can make changes after that. I've heard of people now who work at nightclubs, they're DJs, they're bartenders, they have their own businesses in China or Taiwan or Philippines. It's just an easy stepping stone. But that doesn't mean I wasn't going to try. That doesn't mean I was going to be like, oh, I'm not going to stay here too long, so let me shirk around and not do anything. No, I put in my 120% in every lesson plan and everything that I did with EF. So much so that my social life was completely gone. Completely gone. And anyone I was talking to also didn't have a social life. You couldn't even get a milk tea with the girl right next to you because she was that busy. People who had an hour lunch cut their own lunches in half by 30 minutes so they had an extra 30 minutes of lesson planning, which is what I had to do in the last few weeks too. I cut my hour lunch 30 minutes and I'm back on my computer trying to perfect my team teachers, which it was stupid to even think about. How can I perfect a team teacher? It's not even my class, and not only that, they're not supposed to be perfect. Only at Foshan 2 they were supposed to be perfect, because you had Emma and Cece. I had all of the most evil people and the highest powers. My mentor, Cece, Valerie, the DOS, Emma, the line manager, and whatever the hell the name of the center director was. These like four super bitches were like a super team, all working against me, all attacking the little guy. Like, get a life, get a hobby. You're so bored, watch Chinese drama, K-drama, whatever. They just seem like they had nothing better to do but to fuck with me. If I didn't eat with chopsticks, I ate with a spoon and a fork. I'm from the West. Of course I'm gonna eat with a spoon and a fork. Like, I don't know how to use chopsticks. It's like little things like that. You've insulted them. Like, shut up, bro. China was so whack. Thinking about it, like, what am I sad about? The one girl that I liked, she wouldn't even stand up for me. That's a test of her character. I don't want that girl in my life. I don't want to marry a girl like that. You're not gonna stand up for me then. You're gonna stand up for me in the future? Get out of here, man. So peace out. I'm done talking about China. But if you want me to talk more about China, man, I'm sure I can just go into my memories and pull out some more bullshit. But I want you guys to comment and talk about your experiences. And yeah, I'll post the Reddit. You guys can add to that. But thank you very much. I'm not trying to make this a 50-minute video, but it seems to be around, maybe it'll probably be around like 30, 35, but it's all good.